Hello! Welcome to Rogues and Romances, a twice-rolled tales story. We're going to be playing Call of Cthulhu Regency style, although we're tweaking it slightly to not use some of the more Cthulhu aspects and leaning more into the investigation. Don't worry, there will still be plenty of Regency-era hijinks. I am Linnie Schell. I will be your keeper for the evening. Everyone else go around and introduce themselves.
I am Elliot Davis. I will be playing Randolph Horsefinder, aka Bones.
I am Rowan McStay, and I will be playing Lenora Blackwell.
I'm Phoebe Zimmerer, and I will be playing Anne Waldron.
Hi, I'm Jasmin Malave. I'll be playing Sarah Gibbs, but her friends call her Sally.
I'll be playing everyone else. God help me. All right. We're gonna start with Bones. A tall, ragged sailing ship pulls up to a wharf, clearly having undergone a very terrible journey home. But it looks like everyone is arriving more or less in one piece. And we see the tall figure of Bones step foot onto British soil for the first time in perhaps 5 years. Describe yourself.
Bones is a taller, older gentleman. He's about early 60s. You can catch on a visual glance, though he never reveals his true age to people in conversation. Thick mustache. His beard as well is starting to get a little unkempt from being out on the travel, but when he's back in England, he likes to trim it back down to just the mustache. Pretty well dressed in an explorer's type outfit with baggy pants that are tucked into some very long socks with some, proper mud rain boots. And Bones is currently yelling at the crew about wheeling these big cages off of the ship that are full of all manner of creatures from around the world.
You can see the captain comes up to you. He's like, "All right, is this it?
Yes. This should be it. Yep. Tigers over there.
It's a miracle they're still alive, sir.
Yes.
Don't
drop the cassowary.
Yep, don't drop the cassowary. If you do, I'll feed you the tiger."
Yes.
So you continue unloading, and you're in a nearby port to London. Obviously, you've had issues with the magistrate in the past attempting to import tigers directly into London. Apparently, if they come through London via land, it's fine, but not by sea. No tigers by sea. That's British law.
That's why we dock at Wales these days.
Yep. So you're... I cannot do a Welsh accent. You see your clerk, a longtime clerk, kind of runs things away while you're away. Come up to you, he's like, "Oh, it's been a while."
How long has it been?
Well, it's been 5 years since you were back. Well, your legs, very good.
Yes.
I've
been doing calf raises.
Is there a calf? Do I need to? I only have you for the tigers. Do
and
I
then
need?
Demonstrates calf raises. Gotta stay fit.
Truly, your peculiarities abound, sir.
How is old England?
It's England.
Yes.
The king's not gone mad yet.
Which king is it again? Which George are we on?
It's been the same George.
The same
George since early 1700s.
Sure.
Same, it hasn't changed. It's not going to change for some time, I would imagine.
I would imagine.
Of course, I would not possess my self-knowledge of that.
Me neither. That'd be quite odd.
Quite odd. Even odder than you. I would.
Anyway, would you like to see a kangaroo up close?
What the fuck is a kangaroo?
Kangaroo.
Pardon
Imagine
language,
a rabbit worked out.
Sir, I'm your devoted clerk. I'm
Yes.
always happy to run things while you're away. I have to ask, when you say work out.
Right. Exercise, calisthenics. I don't know if those have been invented.
In the Greek tradition.
The Greek tradition.
So
in the Greek
rabbit,
tradition.
A Greek
rabbit.
rabbit.
Right. Imagine an Olympic level rabbit.
So a Greek rabbit.
The size of a man with fists. And a long, vaguely reptilian tail.
This is all very accurate.
And the face of a deer.
This is the best description of a kangaroo.
It's evocative.
You really must see it.
I really must. Are you intending to fight it, sir?
Well, I did fight it once, and I'll do it again.
He's like, "Oh, yep. I mean, that's pugilist stock, all right there."
Don't get too close.
I wouldn't dream of it, sir.
Anyway, what's the business? What's the latest?
Yes,
What's the latest?
Yes, Yes, and you can see he gets a little more serious. I mean, he in his joy to see you alive and relatively sane. You see kind of a pallor comes over. He's like, I'm so sorry. In my haste, there's been some terrible news from Redworth. It seems our dear friend has passed away. And as you know, it doesn't seem like there's any foul play. Just a sudden winter illness, winter fever. But fortunately, the estate has passed to his first cousin, a certain Hubert Fenton, instead of our dear Zachary. So that's not good. It's not good. I'm sorry for your loss, sir. Additionally, the Fentons have completely taken over the place and are throwing a fancy party. Now, I don't know if you've been invited, sir, and obviously, since you were gone so long, I take the liberty of opening your mail, so things know. And there's a note from Miss Willoughby about it, and I think you should check it out. Of course, there's other businesses is going well. As long as we keep the tigers fed, I think we'll clear off the debts from the last exploration.
Yep.
It'll be fine.
There's a variety of scat on the deck that needs to be taken care of. If you could set someone to that.
Scat.
Scat.
Yes, the scientific word.
Yes.
Great. Of course, sir.
A poo-poo, if you prefer. Sorry, I forget you're not a man of science and animals in the natural world.
I will go deal with this poo-poo, sir.
No, you can set someone to it.
Well, that's what I meant.
Right.
I would not lower myself.
I'll read my mail now.
Great. Good to have you back, sir.
Good to be back.
What a strange gesture.
Isn't it? Learned that one from the kangaroos.
See, the clerk walks off. So you go back to your office. It is neatly organized. Your clerk takes great joy in every time you're gone, reorganizing everything to be exactly organized in the way it should be. Because that's, wildly guessing, not how you keep it most of the time.
First thing when Bones walks into his office is just shake up the desk a little bit.
I heard that!
What?
So you find, among other business transcripts and letters and ledgers, you find first the notice of Walter Willoughby's death, sometime early January of 1810 this year, and then a letter from Jessica Willoughby, of course, Bolter's sister, and contained also with the note is an invitation to the ball.
For the viewing audience.
Yeah. It's upside down.
He's upside down.
Yes. And you're free to reveal the contents of that letter to the other players.
Should I read it or share it?
Depends on what you want to do.
All
clues are the possessors, not necessarily the tables.
Well, I think Bones probably is the style where he gets in his office and he opens the letter and stands up. Bones, probably shouldn't have grabbed this, but there's no way they would have invited you. If the rumors are true and you're back in England, we could use your particular brand of trouble. I'm sure you've heard the news by now. We always hoped that BW was just paranoid. But I don't like the stench of Redworth's newest inhabitants. Yours faithfully, Jay.
Incredible. Seems like trouble may be afoot. What does Bones do with this information?
I think Bones,
And you have you have enough travel time to get to Yorkshire, to Redworth.
Copy, in time.
Yeah, but you probably would have to leave within the next couple of days.
Copy. I think Bones sets, his clerk, or...
John,
I want you to distribute the animals to the necessary folks. We've got 2 tigers going to the Royal Palace.
Okay.
We've got cassowaries going up to Worcestershire. We've got the kangaroo all the way to the tip of the island. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The tip of the island.
Northumberland,
No,
of course.
Oh, location. I thought this was a veiled reference to the rather unscrupulous characters you've been dealing with up there.
Oh, no. The kangaroo is going to Northumberland, of course.
Just Northumberland? No.
You get him across the border, he'll find the rest of the way.
I see, sir. If you've been paid to... sure, it doesn't matter. release kangaroo in
Right. Right.
passphrased it.
Right.
Great, sir. It should be done. I would say
Yes.
it was a pleasure to be having you back.
Wonderful. John,
Yes.
you're a good man.
I try, sir.
You getting paid? I pay you?
Yes, you pay me.
Good. Good.
I pay-
Up that. Up that for yourself.
John has been upping his salary every year that Bones has been gone. Because he does all the books.
Yeah. He does most of the business.
Yeah.
Bones' whole part of the business is traveling around the world and wrestling kangaroos and shit.
God.
Dream.
Uh,
I might be in love with Bones.
Wasn't planning on a romance. It's time. We settle down.
He's still spry.
Well, John, I'm off to Redford Manor. Redford? Redworth? Redworth Manor. This is why I keep you around, John. You keep me straight.
I'm so good with names, sir.
Yes. Ready the carriage?
Yes.
And I'll be taking the macaws with me for a homecoming gift.
Local flavor. Excellent.
Not local.
Well,
These are African gray macaws.
of course, sir.
John, get your animals straight.
I will.
Give yourself a little more money. Maybe that'll help.
There you go. It certainly can't hurt, sir. Of course. I'll get your bags packed. Send for the. You bring anyone with you?
Nah.
Great.
I'll go alone.
Of course. I mean, we have your valet. We have an assorted crew you could bring with you. But if you'd like
I'll
to
bring the valet.
Okay, the valet. Great. What do you want your valet's name to be?
Ooh, I think my valet's name is Nigel.
Nigel.
Thornberry.
Why does it work?
Oh,
though?
wow. If I had thought ahead, I would have just fully gone for Nigel Thornberry for Bones. That's kind of who Bones is, if we're honest.
Wow.
Okay, great.
That's
Yeah. You get this guy too.
so good.
Smash it.
Nigel says, all right, sir, ready to go?
Yes,
All right.
at once.
At once. All right, I've got your in England traveling kit all set up.
Perfect.
So knock the mud off your boots.
No, I think I'll keep the boots.
Knock the mud off your boots. You can keep. I know you don't change boots, sir, but you got your mud outside boots,
yes.
and in the carriage there's no mud. So there's no mud in the carriage, sir.
No mud in the carriage. John, very good, very good.
Yes, remember these things. People at Redworth will notice these things.
I think he jumps and clicks his heels to knock the mud off his boots. Tally-ho.
Great. Cool. So Bones on his way to Redworth. As that is happening,
Oh god, and now for something completely different.
Vibe shift.
we come to the town of Harhurst Cross, a relatively large, well-appointed Yorkshire town, practically on top of Derbyshire. Really, if you ask the locals, they're really from maybe Derbyshire. No one wants to be from Yorkshire, except the people who want to be from Yorkshire. God bless them.
Bless their hearts.
Yeah, so we see a young lady of about 19 or 20. 19 or 20? 25? 23? We see a lady of about 23, well-dressed, of the lowerish class gentry, walking through town. Phoebe, why don't you describe your character?
So Anne Waldron, just a couple years prior, people probably would have seen her and thought, oh, that's such a lovely young lady. I'm sure she'll do very well for herself. She has aged, like, in the last year or so a bit. Very much people will say the bloom is gone.
Horrifying, sorry.
Yeah.
That's what they would say.
Writing
like
down
the roast.
the bloom
Yeah.
is gone. Oof.
A bloom that was killed by just a general sadness. But she is still extremely put together. She's just also very definitely keeping to herself, not really interacting with much of anybody that she doesn't have to, and going about her day as unobtrusively as she possibly can.
You can see, you pass by shopkeepers, you pass by other similar gentry, in like landlords of the area, and whereas perhaps they would have doffed their cap and inquired as how you were, it's not unfriendly, but there is a palpable ice that has settled across the town whenever you enter. Your reputation has been pretty unforgivably damaged. So you're walking through town. With the arrival of the Fentons, new gossip has spread throughout town. So you are no
Thank
longer
God.
the most interesting scandal to have happened in recent memory. And so you see people buzzing, talking about it. You hear shopkeepers talking about how much, food that they have ordered for the upcoming events and festivities. You see people are starting to trickle in and fill up the inns and local way stations in preparation for this 3-day event. There is some lodging at Redworth, but the majority of people will be going home in the early morning hours to rest and recuperate for the next ball, of which there are 3. Of course, you have very little hope of being invited to this, but as you head back to your rather well-appointed small cottage, you see your aunt is having tea with the Potts, a lovely, affable family who have been one of the few to sort of stand by you as much as their reputations could be allowed to suffer. They're distant related, like 3rd or 4th cousins along there, but really they're just kind, decent people who knew it was not your fault, no matter what the rest of society may say. So you walk in, it's like, oh!
Mrs. Potts.
Oh, Miss Waldron. Miss Waldron, how are you today?
It is certainly a fine enough day, and all this buzzing about town is a bit of much of a relief.
And it sort of like pats your hand. It's like, I would imagine that. So, speaking of, and you can see your aunt sort of like motions encourage you. He's like, we have received an invitation to the festivities that are coming, and we're wondering, as we are family, would you like to come along with us, perhaps? As Mary and John, Mary especially, is stepping out this year, we would really appreciate having, a female companion that could be trusted, that maybe would not be going off on her own and other escapades. We could stand by Mary.
Anne takes a moment. She really doesn't want to go to this party, but there's no possible way to refuse that request. Of course, Mrs. Potts, that's so kind of you even to offer.
Oh, it's delightful. Thank you so much. I'm sure Mary is going to be delighted to know she'll have a companion. And John, of course, we're not sure. He's not going to get any trouble, but he's going to be there for the both of you. So if any introductions are needed, he'd be happy to oblige either way. Of course, we're expecting, Mary's quite a beauty, so we're hopeful that this ball is going to be good for her. Of course. And
Can I roll, or would I just know? Is John likely to get into trouble?
well, let's find out. I don't know. Likely is John to get in trouble? Yes. So I'm going to give you these guys. So here is John and Mary Potts, and here is Mrs. Potts and Mr. Potts. I did not give them first names.
Good, because when I was first addressing her, I was like, I don't know her last name. Her first name.
You may not.
I don't think Anne knows their first names. They've always been Mr. and Mrs. Potts.
You could find it, but it's sort of like at this point you can't ask.
Right, exactly.
You could call them their first name at this point, but you can't ask, so you can't know. It's gone on too long. Great. Yes, you can see Mr. Potts has said nothing this entire time. He's just
classic Mr. Potts.
It's just there. So you continue the tea. There's some light gossip about the Fentons. They have definitely not been as quiet and reserved as Mr. Willoughby was. They have been dashing about in carriages constantly, causing no small amount of upset. 2 younger sons, Leopold and Spencer, especially, have taken to racing carriages right at the evening hour.
So they're dirt bike kids.
in spirit, yes. They're sort of like dirt bike kids who now live in a mansion.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Kyle and Chad.
Yeah. Spencer and Leopold. And as well as they have a daughter of about your age, Adelaide. Yes, Adelaide Fenton. Yeah, so you pass a quite pleasant, if more talkative on the Miss Potts end of things.
And very much spends a lot of the conversation just like nodding politely and sipping the tea and just letting Mrs. Potts do the thing that she does.
Yeah, so you're caught up on the Fentons, and you do briefly discuss the sort of tragic relocation of the remains of Mr. Willoughby's family, because as the Fentons moved in, almost immediately the Willoughbys were asked to depart. Fortunately, Mr. Willoughby had set aside some money, and so his sister and his niece have a reasonable standard of living, but certainly not to what they had been accustomed to.
How are the Miss Willoughbys doing?
Well, as well as can be expected in the circumstances, certainly. Zachary seems to be in high spirits. I believe they've received invitations to the ball, but it's sort of, would they go? Do you not go? What do you do in those circumstances? Of course, you don't want to appear, upset. It's not like they didn't know this was coming. It was certainly no one's fault. Very just tragic circumstances. However, it was perhaps a little rude how abruptly the Fultons requested the Willoughbys' removal. They did help them set up in quite a lovely cottage, but certainly they are family, and it is not as if Redworth Manor could not have comfortably hosted them all for some period of time.
Of course.
So, they're from strong stock. I think they'll be quite all right. And you can see that your aunt, at the mention of Miss Willoughby, Miss Willoughby, so this is Jessica, Bolter's sister, sort of gets a little quiet and is like, oh, well, I hope they're doing okay. They seemed very down for a while, but as far as I can tell, they're holding up all right. And then Miss Potts says, well, and of course, the Hillgraves are back in town as well. I think we all remember how that went when they came to visit in January. That was quite a stir. Do you know anything else that happened about it? You seem talking to our aunties. You seem rather close with Miss Willoughby. Do you know anything about this rather abrupt circumstances of their visit and thus departure?
Do I know what happened?
So basically that the Hillgraves, who are sort of the half sisters of Bolton Willoughby's niece, so that when
they came to visit and departed very suddenly, but those are the only details really that I know.
It's a big a big to do. Yes. No one knows why you would kick out your family in the middle of winter, and they departed quite hastily. Miss Potts is sort of like, do you know anything? And your aunt clams up.
Yeah,
it's nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Sure, it is a matter of much speculation that I unfortunately regret to inform that we simply cannot offer any on.
Oh, wouldn't want to be accused of being gossips, of course. I totally understand. So you pass the afternoon and resolve to attend the ball. Miss Potts, as she's leaving, hands you an invitation and says, bit of a larger family, so we have a second one. If there's any issues, you'll be able to use that to get in. You have the proper clothing, dear. I do know that it is a themed event, so different regalia each time. It's going to be positively delightful.
I will certainly do my best.
Oh, that's I'm sure we'll bring some things with us as well. I'm sure Mary can lend out some of her things, and a properly applied scarf can cover a multitude of sins. We love a
very
shawl.
True. Very
a shawl moment, right?
Yes, we all love a shawl moment.
Potts depart, and you're left alone with your aunt, who doesn't seem super willing to volunteer anything. But is there anything you want to do? You have like a day and a half to prepare at this point.
Anne has very conflicted feelings about recent events because half of her is so grateful for everything that's happened in the last month or so, because it's taken a lot of heat off her. But at the same time, she definitely feels a sort of kinship to the situation of the Willoughbys. And so there's also the other half of her, which just feels very terribly that this has all happened at all. and then feels guilty about the sense of schadenfreude she feels of seeing someone else kind of get, and it's a whole shitstorm
Moment.
It's a moment. I think she gets up, gives her aunt a little kiss on the head, and goes upstairs and takes absolutely everything out of her closet in an effort to work out what her options are, because okay, that one is at least 5 seasons out. That I absolutely can't unpack that one. Just like going down the line of what is salvageable here.
You can see your aunt comes up and she's like, "Hey, how's it going, Anne? Are you? I'm so sorry."
Simultaneously, a lot of people have been saying that to me, and not nearly enough. But
that's the spirit.
We are going to make this work, because this is it. You know, this is the first time I will be in society, and you know, maybe enough time has passed that no one will care, but also maybe not. I just really don't want to ruin this whole thing for the pods.
Oh, I don't think you'll do. I mean, you're not going to run away with someone.
No!
So it can't get worse.
Things can always get worse.
Well, I mean, you'll be fine. You'll be fine, dear. You'll be fine. You're totally fine.
Are you doing all right? You seem to shut down a little bit.
No, I'm fine. Totally fine. Mm-hmm.
Can I roll psychology?
Yeah. Give me with advantage because you know you're on very well. Or with a bonus die.
Okay, it's a 57 and a 67. So neither of those.
None of those hit?
Neither of those make it. No.
I mean, your aunt, she's a tough one. She's a hard nut. Lived alone all her life. Mm-hmm. Supported herself as a single woman, never married. She's got some walls. They're not coming down.
She's always had those walls.
So your aunt says, "Well, I'll leave you to it, and I will make some inquiries and see if maybe there's something I can do. But I'm sure
it's fine. Everything is going to go absolutely perfectly, and no new scandals will arise."
Yeah, that's...
I'm manifesting it.
Delightful. Is that a new practice?
Yes.
Perhaps you'll start a revolution.
I've been reading a good deal of philosophy and poetry about starting your life anew, so...
There's that new mesmerism that's come out.
Right. It's a bit of sort of an offshoot of...
It's like self-mesmering.
Exactly.
Wow, how modern.
And shuts the door and cries a little.
Cries a little. If you come out later, you see your aunt's left some tea. Definitely has gone cold by the time you come out. Great, so we'll leave Anne there, and let us go to Lenore. We come to where are you from exactly? From
Lower Lincolnshire.
Lower Lincolnshire, yes, of course. Let's go to Lower Lincolnshire, and we see what was initially a rather modest house, and sort of not nearly a manor, but more of like an estate house. And you see that in the past 10 years, it has undergone an enormous amount of revisions, as if the family has suddenly come into a rather large amount of money, and also is required that they entertain frequently. So you can still see some workmen doing final remodeling on the stucco, and some new columns have been added. The effect is quite interesting, really, when taken in all together, but it could easily be assumed to be the product of a creative, aspiring mind who's eager to try all of the new modern architecture all at once, everywhere.
Perfect.
Make up for no wasted time. You come into a drawing room where describe your character.
Yes, Lenora Blackwell is she is kind of got the haze. She's got like dark curly brown hair, is dressed pretty modestly, and is a bit like disheveled. I think there's a bit of a kind of boyishness to her where everything is just a little bit undone. The stockings are gone. There's sort of like just the touches are sort of missing. Like she's always kind of thinking about something else and hasn't really put a lot of effort into her appearance. But she's quite beautiful. We've got a 70 appearance, so would be sort of beautiful if not for just or is maybe in kind of like a windswept like country way of like, we're just here. And I think she's sort of hard at work with like a pen and paper, and one pen in her hair, one sort of like in her ear, like just kind of forgetting, like ink all over her hands. She's got the lefty smudge, like there's just a lot happening.
You can see your brother is like sprawled across a fainting couch. This is Leighton. Leighton Black. Was it Black?
Blackwell.
Leighton Blackwell. And he's just lying, his like head over his eyes, just like, but I don't want to go.
Leighton, listen, sorry, go ahead.
I don't want to go. Lenore, it's going to be absolutely tedious. They're going to ask me all these questions I cannot answer, and I can't ask you for help, because obviously I can't ask for you for help, because you're not supposed to know any of this. Do you know how hard it is to pretend to be a writer?
Listen, I understand, Leighton, it will be tedious. I more than anyone know. I mean, Mother won't stop talking at me about finding a potential match, right? So...
Oh, she won't stop talking at you about finding a potential match.
Listen.
Do you know
people... You can certainly come to me to ask me any questions you'd like about the books, all right? I am rather good at passing myself off as a connoisseur of fine literature and, paperbacks. And so, genuinely, come to me with any questions that you might have. I'll try to stay by your side and answer as many as I can.
But the problem is, what if they put me up on stage again, Lenore?
We got plenty time. Just.
They asked me to improvise something.
All right, we'll just make up a bit of fact
went
about yourself.
badly.
I bet it did. Yes, it went terribly. Well, listen.
No one would speak to me for 6 months until we came up with a new book.
Leighton, darling, you're an eccentric. You have the privilege of being an artist. No one expects an artist to be...
Good?
Well, no, socially acceptable, as long as your work is good.
It's not that I am socially acceptable. I know how to be socially acceptable. I just don't know how to talk about art. Because I don't know about art. Have you? No!
Leighton, I need you to be honest with me.
Mm.
We are going to this event tomorrow.
Mm.
Have you read The Poisoner's Hatpin?
Was it a rather engaging summary on the back?
The book was out 5 months ago.
I read slowly.
Leighton, you're the writer. Have you read any... What was the last one you read? We've got, obviously, first You've read Treachery on the Thames.
Of course, everyone's read that.
Can I roll psychology? See if Leighton has read Treachery on the Thames.
Yeah, right over the roll with the bonus time.
Great. That's a pass.
He has skimmed it, and he's heard, it's the thing where you hear enough people tell you their favorite bits about something that you feel like you've read the whole book because someone's told you about every bit of it.
Great.
So, in conversation, but honestly, no.
Okay, so
not all of it.
All right. So you've read Treachery on the Thames. You've read The Defenestration of Archibald Crane, of course.
Diverting.
The Bedside Behanding.
No.
Yeah, well, that one was sort of, it was mixed receptions. Of course you've read In the Manor of Curses. That's sort of the
classic. No,
the classic, the favourite.
I've been do you know how many times I've been asked to do readings?
Leighton.
From it. So that counts. Yes, I've read the whole thing in readings to other people.
So probably out of order.
I mean, yes.
Do you know who the killer was?
Well, it was sort of like a two people working together.
Oh, my dear. Okay. Listen. We're going to go. We'll do our best not to make a scene. If people ask you about the books, tell them that you have a new project in the works. Get people curious. Tell people that...
Okay, all right.
Tell people that you can't reveal too much information.
Oh, like a secret.
Absolutely. Right?
Keep a secret.
Tell them that it's scandalous.
Oh.
And it has a lot to do with an unexpected family inheritance of an estate.
Are you attempting to get me to get people to gossip for material for your new book?
Darling, I would never. But if people want to talk to you and perhaps have their insights
This is
included
why
in a
you
new...
want to go to this hateful party!
Of course
You
it's why I
tortured
want to
me
go to the
for material!
party. Do you think that I would ever want to attend this
I don't know, you're a woman, you flight of fancy! Sorry. Just came out. I didn't know what happened.
Leighton, if Mother should ask,
Of course.
tell her that I dance the night away every night with a handsome, wonderful, eligible, well-appointed man. And on the third day, at the stroke of midnight, he dropped dead on the dance floor, leaving me hopelessly bereft and irrevocably single. I will be spending the rest of my night and the rest of my time at this ball trying to find the best possible story.
But you have to dance. Because I can't lie to Mother. You know, I can't do it.
I can't dance.
I can't lie to Mother!
If I'm asked, I will dance. And Lenora just knows that she's got a suitcase packed with truly the most unacceptable outfits for this event in order to deter a possible dancing partner. She says, I've packed a number of very attractive looks. So I'm sure that a gentleman caller will come. And I will dance with whoever asks.
Well, all right, I think you will dance with whoever asks.
Of course, especially if they have information.
And if I get lost, I can come ask you about the book.
Of course.
But I don't have to say anything about the book because it's a secret.
It's a secret. It's a new book. It's a new book. You know what? New book.
Out with the old, in with the new.
Absolutely. The poisonous hatpin. Who's talking about it anymore? You know you've got something coming up.
What?
You've got
I've
the
got
new
some,
book
I've
coming
got
up.
some, yes.
Right. So just make something up. But no spoilers.
I won't spoil the book I am writing.
Correct.
You have not told me about yet.
Yes, absolutely.
Great.
Do me a favour though. Don't make up any details. I don't want to have to incorporate them.
Look, the thing with the dog,
The
she
thing
was really very pretty.
You know what? That's really true, and it did lend the bedside behandling sort of a human interest aspect, which was really lovely.
But people didn't like that one.
You know how every once in a while an artist's favourite work is sort of one that's not very well received? I'm rather attached to the bedside behandling, actually, and a lot of it has to do with the dog, so thank you for that. But maybe let's not make up any other details.
No dogs. Got it. No new dogs.
Correct.
Only old dogs.
Beautiful.
So the scene fades out.
I want to establish that Anne is definitely really into all of these books.
Oh, yeah.
That these are her guilty
I've
pleasure.
written down so many books. Bedside
Like it's like behind the Byron and the
You're a famous writer, Leighton. Enjoy the attention.
hidden in the Schubert.
He enjoys the attention. He doesn't enjoy having to fake being a good writer.
That's fair.
I'll give you Leighton.
Thank you. Oh, this is gonna get...
Oh,
You asked for this.
I did. I'm gonna add a little tiny T on this so I can keep them apart.
So it is the eve of the ball. So Lenora and Brandoff, you guys are traveling in, sort of going to arrive just in time for the ball, sort of secure your lodging and then immediately go. The way these balls sort of work is you show up sometime after dark, kind of early, so let's say 7, 8-ish, and then you dance until about 5 in the morning. Breakfast is served at 1 o'clock in the morning. This is fun.
this
Yeah,
fun.
it is.
Mhm.
And then everyone goes home at around 5 in the morning, sleeps the day away because they're gentry. They don't work. This is important. This is what you can do when you don't work because you're a parasitic landlord. Anyway. Oh, hail the merchant class. So you guys are arriving. And so when you wake up the morning of the ball, when you come out into like the parlor area, there's a number of slightly older, but still much higher quality than you'd be able to afford dresses. And your aunt says, so no pressure. Obviously you don't have to take any of these, but I've procured some of these. I think they should roughly fit you. And as well,
How much
meetings...
did you spend on these?
They were lent to me by a friend. So please don't ruin them.
Okay.
I'm sure you won't, but there's one more stress for you to have.
It's a continually growing list, but yes.
But you don't have to wear them, but they're there if you would like. And as well-meaning as Miss Potts is, a scarf may or may not cover a multitude of your sins. They may or may not exist. Not privy to your private conversations with the Lord.
Yep. Would be a truly magical scarf that could do that. She's gonna gather up the dresses, add them to my bag, and assume my aunt is not coming.
Yes, no, your aunt was uninvited. So you would definitely, you're close enough to Redworth that you could show up to the ball, dressed, and then you would return home. So you would not be staying at Redworth.
All right.
You're the local village, so you would. There are a lot of people who are in the inns in the village already. So most of the gentry is staying in like surrounding buildings and towns, and then coming in for the ball. Only like very close family members would be allowed to stay at the ball, like, at the house.
All right. So I suppose I will get dressed for the first night of festivities.
And you see from your invitation that the first night is diamond, right?
Silver.
Silver. It is silver. So.
I'm the most silver dress.
and your aunt does lend you a few like very like heirloom pieces of family jewelry, which coincidentally is silver. You don't have all of the fancy stuff.
No, we do not have gold or diamond, but we have silver.
And love, lots of love in that house. Anyway, great. So you guys are coming in. You're getting ready, and it's getting toward the evening of the ball. So maybe kind of 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock-ish. And we turn to kind of the nicest, most well-appointed tavern and inn. Some gentry might stay in there if they get caught out for bad weather, but it primarily serves, merchant class, or those without families in the area. And working at the bar area, Jasmin, you want to tell us about your character?
Yeah, so you see in the Prancing Pony Inn that there is a very small young girl, or young woman. She's about 17. That's Sarah. This is her family's inn. So this is Sarah Gibbs. She is very quick-witted. She is quick on her feet. She's running in between all the tables, helping everybody. Not a particular beauty, but certainly handsome enough. And she's running in and out and trying to make sure that all of these people are well served on a very, very busy day, getting ready for a special event here in town.
Bones. So Bones, you've arrived to town, and you see the Prancing Inn, and you have a couple of hours before the festivities start to talk to people, to meet up any of your local contacts, or just acquire a room.
So that's where we'd be staying, the Prancing Pony?
Not necessarily. So you could, it's an inn there.
Where's Jessica staying, likely?
Jessica would be and you would have the return address because she sent you the letter. So she's in a house sort of on the outskirts of this town.
Copy. I imagine Bones might stay with Jessica, but probably go to the Prancing Pony to kill some time with Nigel. They pull the card up and says to Nigel, "Fancy a beverage, Nigel?"
I'll have a small beer, sir. Yes, that sounds all right.
Small beer.
We'll go take care of the horses then?
Yes. I'll meet you inside.
All right. We'll get these settled in with the grooms. Don't get into any trouble, sir. I can't get you out of.
Well, I'll do my best.
Great. I am otherwise completely reassured.
And feed the macaws when you tie up the horses.
Is it a specialized diet, sir?
Of course. The instructions are in the back. You'll take care of it.
I can't read, sir.
You'll learn fast. Nigel! Nigel, how much is John paying you?
He's not paying me to read, sir. He's paying me to take...
how much is John paying you?
Enough reasonable
We're
wages.
going to increase that when we get back down to my office, all right?
I appreciate the offer, sir.
No. Let's go. You're going to learn how to feed macaws.
Ooh, delightful.
All right.
I'm starting don't understand why every one of this man's expeditions ends in a loss.
But why people love him?
Exactly. Like,
It's greasing the wheels.
Takes Nigel through the feeding procedures of the macaws, which, of course, Bones knows.
Mhm.
I don't.
Bones no.
And I think spending so much time with these macaws, like a couple of them have picked up different idioms from Bones, so they kind of sound like Bones
One of
occasionally.
them just says, "You're getting a raise."
Yeah. We're gonna have to up that.
We're gonna have to up that. Watch out for the tigers! Oh! Watch out for the tigers! Oh! Watch out for the tigers! Oh! Great.
Just a housewarming gift swearing at you.
Yeah.
so good.
Nigel takes to these macaws real well. His kind of animal handling with the horses really extends over to most creatures. He's sort of the default. Here's a weird bird, a weird thing.
Mm-hmm.
Bones has brought it back. Figure out how not to kill it. So he feeds the macaws, and you're free to go into the tavern as you like.
Yeah.
Sit anywhere you like. It's a bit busy. Can't seat you myself.
Ah, wonderful. Small beer for me, small beer for young Nigel here.
Okay, I'll be there in a moment.
All right.
She goes and
Take your
grabs some stuff, and she helps a couple tables. On the way over, she yells at somebody, "Oi! You're gonna keep your hands to yourself if you want to keep them." And then she drops off a couple of beers, and then goes back over.
Gives you a little cheers when you yell at that
Having the
person.
time. Yeah.
Nigel, I'm very impressed with your macaw feeding abilities.
Oh, thank you, sir. It was the first time I've ever dealt with a bird so long before. Usually it's
Yes.
sort of more
Yes.
round.
What we say in the horse finder family is, if you can handle horses, you can handle just about any animal.
I found that to be true, sir. Yeah,
I should think so. How long have you worked for me now?
what's going on about 20 years, sir?
Amazing. Cheers. Small beers.
Small beers.
One swig. Takes the
swig.
whole thing.
I was gonna go into a thing about small beer, but it does not matter. No one needs that historical tidbit.
Is small beer a historical thing?
Small beer it's a weak beer, so it's basically beer that's been watered down enough to not be alcoholic.
I didn't know that. I was imagining
yeah.
a tiny glass.
It's sort of like you want alcohol to disinfect it and to sort of like keep it from going really putrid. So it's got a little bit.
It's beer flavored water.
Essentially, you give it to like children and
A
stuff.
beer water
That
cocktail.
is-
Yeah.
It's
the
still
worst thing I've
water.
ever heard.
It's a small beer.
So you've taken beer, which its only upside was that it could get you drunk eventually, and you've taken that away.
It's also served warm. Remember?
Yes. Yes.
You can also call it big water.
I think Sally would probably notice this, and then having just surveyed you both for a second, has determined you need another one and a regular one, and so she's gonna just bring that over. She's just like with Nigel. She's like, and so here we go.
No, the small beer for him. I'll take the good stuff.
I'm
Big
good.
beer.
Thank you, ma'am.
He's
I
got to manage the macaws.
Don't know what that means, but enjoy.
'Tis a bird.
What did you call me?
No, madam. Apologies. You're busy. We'll
I'll
stick to
be
drinking.
back if you need anything.
Appreciate you.
So you see sort of your regular customers in and out. A lot of new faces, a lot of people who are clearly like overcoats over finery, light overcoats since it's June. You see one of your unpleasant regulars sitting at the table. Usually he's accompanied by his daughter and wife. He's just sitting alone. And it's sort of been that he pays enough money and is just unpleasantly enough that he hasn't yet been kicked out of the establishment. But Frank Gilbert is by far your least favorite patron who regularly frequents the prancing.
Does he go by Mr. or Lord?
Mr.
Okay.
Oh, he is firmly a Mr.
Okay.
Gilbert. He is you can see that he's dressed in ball finery as well. And the only reason he got invited was because he's of his proximity. So he's a rather large farmer, so he's independently wealthy, even among the standards of kind of the lower class gentry of the area. And he controls a lot of the farming area that abuts Redworth Manor. So he was sort of invited because he couldn't not be invited.
And then I know probably the name of his daughter.
Yes. It is Mary Gilbert. In fact, Mary Deborah Gilbert, if you'd like her middle name.
Mr. Gilbert.
Oh!
You're regular.
Thank you, Sally. Thank you, Sally.
I suppose you're going to the ball.
Oh, it's gonna be fantastic. I mean, there's gonna be finery and dancing, and I mean, but it'd almost be too much. I mean, I'm sure that you're gonna have a better time here.
I'm sure I will.
Incredible. I mean, I'm just sad that my daughter and wife won't be able to attend.
What? Miss Mary isn't going to the ball.
No, unfortunately she's been struck ill.
Oh.
Quite ill. I mean, she's basically returned on carriage immediately. I still have all of her things with me, but, unfortunately, just doesn't seem to be in the stars.
That is unfortunate. Why don't you have another on the house?
Oh. Alright, thank you. I'm sure I'll have plenty to drink at the ball, but one more wouldn't hurt.
Oh, no, of course not. If you need anything else, Mr. Gilbert, let me know.
So friendly. Sally, that's why everyone loves you.
She's going to, take a peek out the window as she walks away and, survey and look for his carriage, which I'm sure she's, fairly familiar with.
Yeah, so his it looks like he's come on horseback, because it's just him, so his wife and daughter have taken the carriage back, and he's rented a horse or borrowed a horse from someone. So it looks like he'll be going by horse. Yeah, so pause there. Let's fast forward to the night of the ball. So everyone is dressed in their appropriate finery, accompanied by their appropriate families, and you know that your valet would sort of be allowed to come, but perhaps not wander freely. So you might be able to go stay with the servants' areas, the servants' quarters, or take care of the horses, but wouldn't actually be able to freely attend the ball.
I think Nigel is going to be pretty preoccupied finding somewhere to put the macaw cage, the covered macaw cage. Yeah.
Is there anything you want to do, or any of the three of you want to do before you attend the ball? Is there anyone you want to talk to? Anyone?
I think Bones leaves I don't know if you tip in this era, but maybe leaves a note that's sorry to have wasted your time to Sally.
Yeah, I think you do that. Sally, can Sally read?
I have Sally as a voracious reader, actually. It's kind of how she makes this work.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming as
whatever that is.
I'm excited about the wealth of costumes and carriage unattended.
Great. Yeah, so you can talk to anyone in town. If you wanted to visit Jessica Willoughby, you definitely could. You could also wait to see if she shows up to the ball.
I think he probably would see Jessica beforehand, just out of respect of not having their reunion be
public
and in the face of the Fentons and all that, or have to put a show on. So yeah, I think he probably goes to Jessica's to be can I stay here? But also to just say hello.
Being a guest was a thing you could do at the time. Show up. It's not like you could call ahead, right? So you really could just sort of show up. It was fantastic. There's this whole thing about professional guesting a little bit earlier. Tangent. Anyway, yeah, so you get to, you use fast directions around the village, and you get to the, reasonably well-appointed cottage of the Willoughbys, and you can see sort of through one of the large windows in the front, you see Jessica, and you see Rebecca, her grandniece, and then you see Zachary Colt as well, the young grandnephew of Bolter. And so you've met Zachary before, but he was 7'5", ankle biter.
Yeah.
Not really. He's a strong young lad of 20 now, and it looks like they're not getting ready for anything. They're just kind of having a loud discussion back and forth.
I think Bones makes a big entrance and is Jessica, darling. Good to see you.
Bones!
Big hug.
Yeah, waves off everyone else, gives you a big hug.
And I think there's a small moment within the hug where he gets a little genuine. Is I'm sorry about Bolter.
Yeah. It was not good.
Yeah. And not right how you were pushed out.
Well, who are we to argue with the decree of the king? So if he says this is how the land shall be entitled, then it's fine. We're doing quite well here. I mean, of course, Bolter always knew this was a possibility, so we're
Sure.
rather well taken care of. It's certainly not Redworth, but
Is this place nice that they're in?
yeah, like it's like it is small but nice.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sort of high quality, but not necessarily sprawling. There's not a lot of room for entertaining. It very much has the vibe of, well, we don't want to, you're not in a hovel, but your role as sort of the linchpin of gentry society in here is over because you do not even have space to be that anymore. That sort of thing. So the Fentons clearly set them up, but they set them up in such a way that sent a message.
Yeah, got it.
But still kind of preserve their reputation among people who didn't directly live in the town.
I think Bones offers sort of the family like some gifts from
Mhm.
travels, like brings Jessica like an exotic flower,
Mhm.
maybe like a kind of orchid or something.
Orchid, yeah.
And then gives like little handmade toys from around the world to actually brought a toy for Zachary even though he's 20. And it's like a little like toss a ball in a cup sort of vibe.
God.
It's like, dear boy, I thought you were younger. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's fine. Thank you.
Yes.
Is this? And then Jessica says, yes, of course, Rebecca, and you, of course, you know Bones, but Rebecca, you told Zachary about Bones, of course. This is Bones, the story you remember as a small lad, the incident, you still got a scar on your knee, the incident with the horse and
Yes.
the raccoon, whatever that is.
Raccoon. Marvelous creature.
Now, Bones, I'll tell you what I've said, and I'll say it again. They have hands,
Yes.
but no soul. God gave
Right.
them the ability to have opposable thumbs, but no conscience.
But to imagine a dog-sized rat with hands. I mean, Jessica. It's incredible.
Bones, that's what I'm trying to say.
I should go back to cross the sea, grab some raccoons on my next trip. You're right, more raccoons. I think people
That's
are
not what I'm
underselling
saying.
raccoons.
I think it's good to have you back.
It's good to be back.
It's good to be back.
Rebecca, good to see you as well.
Likewise.
Do I like Rebecca?
Yeah.
I'm having trouble placing Rebecca in
So
the...
Rebecca would be basically raised as a daughter by,
Yes.
yeah.
I like Rebecca.
it's like Uncle Bones.
Rebecca.
How's it going?
I think buys jewelry from all over the
Mhm.
world every time he comes back for her, like little necklace or
Yeah.
earrings or something.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rebecca says, it's so good to see you.
Good to
It's
see you.
surprising. I didn't think you'd be back so soon. Especially with the are you attending the ball?
Well, I have decided to attend, but I was supposed to be out for a few more years, but then we found a rather marvelous kangaroo that I had to deliver to Northumberton.
A kangaroo.
Kangaroo, so imagine a rabbit the size of a man with the abs of a Greek Olympian.
I'm sorry, I'm familiar with that.
Abdominal muscles, Rebecca. Gotta stay tip-top. You're not thinking about your abdominal muscles. You'll grow weak in your old age, not like me. Strong. Anyways, we found a kangaroo.
Rebecca turns to look at Jessica, and Jessica's just dying. Just very, Jessica and Bolter were very similar, and so this is delightful. Whereas Rebecca had a lot of social pressure to be, she's sort of an adopted ward, her place was never quite as secure, and so she was always a little more interested in propriety. She understands what's important and family, but she, on the outside, is always a little more reserved. She's well, that sounds better than a raccoon?
Much better than a raccoon. Much more dangerous.
And can I inquire as to possibly what Northumberland might be doing with said raccoon? Just the whole province?
It's not much my business what they do with the creatures once I deliver them. So, he's going to Northumberland. I imagine he will be entered into some sort of fighting ring. Get in there with the pugilists.
Oh, the poor creature.
Oh no, he is quite capable. Don't you worry.
And Jessica says, I'm sure Bones would not. I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's gonna be fine. They have hands, right?
They have fists.
See, Rebecca, totally fine.
If there was a beast built for boxing, it's this creature. I assure you, Rebecca. You need not fear on behalf of the kangaroo. Anyway, I will, we have some macaws to deliver, but I couldn't wait to, I couldn't have our reunion be
No,
in front
of
of the
course.
Fentons and,
I mean, we shall not be attending. It's...
What?
Well, we've decided, as a group, that anyone who matters would be coming to visit us. And so we will not need to go visit the Fentons.
Well, Jessica, who will I talk to at this party if you're not there?
The macaws! And they sound like lovely people.
The macaws are a bird, Jessica. We've been over this. Jessica, you simply have to come. I insist. I insist that you come.
Give me a persuasion
What about fast talk?
Yeah, fast talk, whatever you have. Just give it a straight persuasion of like a difficult roll.
31, that is under 37, which is my difficult.
Hey!
Yeah, it is.
Just like-
there it is.
Well,
Please.
it wouldn't do to let you run amok Redworth. It was never turned out well in the past.
Yes.
But Rebecca and Zachary will be staying here. Give me a psychology roll.
No.
Alright, cool.
Like, really, no. 95.
Yeah, I mean, you look into Zachary and Rebecca's faces, and you see like they're really deeply struck both by this loss and their sudden reversal in circumstance, because Jessica was around when Redworth was passed to Bolter from the king, so she has a perspective of what their life was like before Redworth and before they were these really well landed gentry, whereas Zachary and Rebecca don't really have that perspective. So they really seem like they took the loss of both their reputations and land and place, but more just like the way that people used to talk to them and understood their place in society. They took that hard, and so they're going to be staying away. I think that's what they're going to be doing.
I think before we leave, Bones takes them aside and says, I understand if you don't want to come to the party, but now that you're not tied to a manor, if you ever want to come out on an expedition, the invitation is always open. Your family.
And Rebecca
You
says,
just say the word.
That's very kind. That's very kind.
I can show you a kangaroo up close.
Zachary says, "Oh, yes, that would be delightful. Yes, I think I would be most interested in a new venture, sometime soon.
Wonderful.
And go abroad would be delightful." Rebecca does not find this
Not
delightful.
find it delightful.
This is not delightful to her. But
With that 95 psychology, Bones doesn't notice that. And it's just like, wonderful, you'll be on the next ship.
great. Yes.
In the day or two, I think, leading up to this event, I would like to search newspapers, talk to folks who I know are notoriously like gossips. Like any kind of way to find information, just like listening around to try to find like what scandals are surrounding the various like guests at this party. Like I think I know the I think I know the like main thing with the manor. Like I think I have what I have there.
Yeah.
But like who else is in attendance that has like dirt or intrigue?
Yeah, I think you definitely get all the family tree. And I think you would have heard something about that abrupt visit by the Hillgraves. So they came to visit. They're like basically half sisters of Rebecca. Her half sister, her mother came to visit, and her half sisters, and then they were swiftly kicked out.
Right.
You would have heard that. I think kind of the Fentons, that they're not really gentry, and they've kind of also been elevated by this.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you would have picked up on just the thing with the Hillgraves.
Okay.
How Rebecca was left to be raised by Bolter, even though she had a living mother.
Great.
Because her living mother remarried and then had five kids.
Is Rebecca married?
Rebecca was married to a Thomas Colt,
Okay.
who died.
And is widowed?
Yeah, and died 1799.
So she'd still be Mrs. Colt, though.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, until she was remarried.
Great.
But she doesn't seem super interested in.
Okay.
No one heard anything bad about Thomas Colt, but
Yeah.
like,
Listen, that's great.
she's got a son. She's got money.
What more do you need?
In this era,
A macaw?
nothing.
A bird, a nice bird.
Everyone needs a nice
Cool.
bird.
Great.
Yes, I think Anne is probably not heading straight there herself, so
Mhm.
she would be going to the Potts' home and then traveling with them. So I think she's probably showing up a little bit early so she can help Mary get ready. And just generally make herself useful.
Yeah. You see Mr. and Mrs. Potts. Mr. Potts just gives you a Miss Waldron.
Is Mary upstairs?
Oh yes, absolutely. I think John's already off to get the carriage. I'm gonna pull it around, and then whatever her final things she needs are, we supplied her with an endless array of fascinators. So we're hoping one of them sets it off appropriately.
I'll help her pick one out. And I'll head on upstairs to help
Excellent.
Mary.
Yeah, so you see Mary, and you're about the same age. She's probably younger. She's probably more on the like 17 or so. This is her first sort of big foray into society. She says, "Oh, Anne, it's so good of you to come. We're so thankful that you could, make the time."
Well, I mean, nothing but time, quite frankly. So, which ones are we leaning towards?
Oh, well, it's very kind of my mother, but she's really given me a lot of choices, and I really prefer not that many choices. But we've got 3 with stars, and then 3 with the stars and the intricate ribbon lacing that drapes down just so. There's some feathers, and the feathers are very nice because they're from far away, from abroad, from somewhere, someplace, not England, and, that sets it off nicely, but I think it kind of looks ghastly, to be honest. So between these 5 or 6.
Well, I think just the stars for the first night. Then you can build
Build
up.
up. Well, one's the masquerade with the feathers for the masquerade. It could be an ostrich.
Oh. What's that?
I don't know. I was talking to one of the groundskeepers around who said he'd heard it from someone at a tavern. Ostrich.
Remarkable. I'm going to have to learn more about ostriches.
Ostrich.
Am I saying ostrich?
Ostrich.
Ostrich.
As I understand it, yes.
Okay.
So, whatever one of those is,
Well,
apparently they're quite ferocious.
what is it?
It's got a mouthful of teeth and a very long, like a neck, and it will come down and like fly down from above and eat your hair. But you can also ride on it.
Is this some new manner of questing beast?
No, it's quite real. They have one in. They've just gotten one in the London Zoo.
You know, I have been missing out on a lot of news lately. I've been staying home a lot.
There's several pictures in the paper, but it looks like a couple of people have not gone to see it. They've just drawn it as described, so I'm really not quite sure what it looks. The long neck seems to be essential,
Okay.
and the mouthful of teeth.
The mouth?
Yes.
Well, pictures will suit me just fine, I think. And I'm gonna help her get the thing in her hair. Ask her how far along she is in the poisoner's hat pin.
She's like, "Oh, well, I really loved the section. There's this bit with a dog, a small dog, and I just think it's so delightful that it's, you think it's gonna be a terrible yappy dog, but then it ends up alerting its mistress and saving her life."
Who doesn't love a heroic dog?
No, I just, there was the other dog. I didn't like that. But yeah, we don't.
I thought there was a lot going on with that like people weren't really looking into, but it's not for everybody. It wasn't for everybody.
She graciously offers you some of her starred fascinators if you'd like one.
Yeah, I'll take one of the simpler one.
Yeah.
So we match. And
Yeah, and you actually
she
do
likes it
look,
when we match.
You do look, you do look quite nice. Like a little bit pulled together. Like it's not quite as cohesive as a fully designed outfit would necessarily be, but it's clear that all the clothing is of quality. So you still are representing your station in the eyes of people who would care about that sort of thing.
I'm going to not eat anything all night so that I don't get anything on the dress.
Great. So you get in the carriage to go. So you three pull up, and you two are able to get in with kind of no issue. You don't even think the footman recognizes you. The Fultons have pulled in all new staff. So they basically fired everyone except
sounds like a couple of the serving staff, some of the cooks, but anyone who'd be forward-facing, front of house servant has been fired and replaced with some of their own personal servants that they've hired or brought with them. So that happens. Bones, as you get in there with, you approach the stairs, Jessica on your arm, and you can tell no one knows who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's how I like it.
everyone knows who Jessica is. And if you had gone alone, you probably would have been challenged and had to do some fast talking.
Mhm.
But people seem a little surprised, but otherwise, Jessica has every right to be there. Miss Willoughby's. Great deal of confusion. What are you wearing to this ball?
I think that it is a relatively appropriate, nice outfit, but still baggy in the pants and still tucked into like worn adventure boots, like mid-calf height boots that still like have that like you could never get them fully clean, but otherwise like a pretty nice jacket and
Cravat?
cravat.
Yeah.
That's
cravat.
I'm glad you got this.
Yeah. So I think it's like anyone who's not paying attention would just assume you're one of the gentry,
right,
but anyone
if they
who
look down.
pays attention, does the check your shoes bit, is gonna clock you.
Yeah.
Great. So you proceed in. You proceed in as well. You see Jessica with this dashing older man on her arm, and you've seen Miss Willoughby, around. So give a polite Miss Waldron.
Miss Willoughby. How fares your niece and her son?
I mean, they're as well as can be expected. I think we're keeping on. I think Zachary might be leaving for the shores of the continent any day now.
Yes. The next expedition.
Oh, I must introduce you. This is Brandon Horsefinder.
Pleasure. Call me Bones.
Mr. Bones is all right.
Really taking the cue from his book because it feels so wrong in her heart to not refer to him as Mr. Horsefinder.
If you wish to call him Mr. Horsefinder, none shall stop you. But
I might stop you.
just elbows you.
Oh, I'm just kidding.
Mr. Bones.
You call me whatever you like.
So Mr. Bones, Mr. Horsefinder, whatever you would prefer. He does only answer to Mr. Bones. Or Bones, but...
Understood.
We could exchange a polite fiction that his last name is Bones, if it would help you feel better.
It would help me feel better, yes.
Wait, how do you feel about being Mr. Bones for the evening?
I think I quite like being Mr. Bones for the evening.
Excellent.
Wonderful.
You see this, you've never seen Jessica this animated.
Yeah.
They're clearly old friends, and you don't have the context, but you think... You have an idea of who Mr. Willoughby was, and you think... This tracks. This kind of tracks. Lenore, so you're heading here. Leighton has changed his outfit 6 times, and you're going to be terribly late.
Yes, perfect. I've gotten ready already. Like I was so fast. Like I was waiting on Leighton, but I am wearing an inappropriately gold trimmed dress with like it's very like understated. And then just like an ironic silver ribbon. And I'm just trying to like obsessively scrub the like lefty smudge off of my hand while waiting for him to get ready. And on the way there, I just say, Leighton, darling.
Oh, hello. Yes. I would 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
5 minutes. All right. While you're at it, I've got a title for the new novel.
Oh, exciting!
Which you can share with the crowd.
Of course.
It's called The Traitor's Inheritance.
The Traitor's Inheritance. You're actually going to call it that, or are you just trying to stir things up?
It's a working title.
All right. I mean, it's not as if I've got a better one.
You can't pass along any of the juicy details yet.
I don't know them!
Darling, you don't need to. Just pretend like it's all a big secret. But anyway, tell them it's called The Traitor's Inheritance.
So it's a secret, but I can tell them the title.
Yes, of course. No, the contents of the book are the secrets. The title is how we get people interested, darling.
Again, I must remind you, I do not know the contents of this book, which I'm asked to be kept secret.
Apparently, brother, you don't know the contents of any of the books, so it's all a big secret to you.
I read at least one of them!
All right. Well, are you done getting dressed?
No!
It's gonna be about half an hour.
Right.
I lied.
Better fashionably late than not.
Emphasis on the fashion, dear sister.
Oh, well, for you.
This is late. And we see a single. Would you be unaccompanied?
Absolutely.
No.
Here you have this.
Oh God, this is great.
An unaccompanied woman
Walk in.
in
Just
a silver, a gemstone studded. It looks like not precious stones, but just something glass beading. Something to add a little bit of sparkle. Show up. She sort of just appears out of nowhere. It doesn't seem like she's taken a carriage, and walks up unaccompanied, completely alone, to the footmen who are checking invitations. Yes. Hello, miss.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you very much. I'm gonna ta-ta.
Okay.
Oh wow. Okay.
Just going in.
Give me an etiquette roll.
That's correct.
You do get a bonus die to that
Okay.
because your current reputation is.
Okay.
You don't have points in that.
No, I do not. I redo this one.
Yeah, redo the 10.
No.
It's like I'm sorry. I'm sorry, miss. Could I see that invitation again?
Mm-hmm.
So Are you accompanied? I'm saying this is for Mr. Frank Gilbert.
That's my father. Unfortunately, he's fallen very ill, and so I had to, make my way here. And then the axle on the carriage broke, and so I've had to make my way on foot the rest of the way. You can see it's just down the way a little.
Give me a persuasion or a fast talk check. Again, with advantage. It's like,
Oh, wait. Was it 3?
Yeah, it was 3.
That'll do.
Wait, Will?
Yeah.
Where's he? Oh my god.
You can see the footman sort of take the invitation and sort of. It's not that he thinks that, like, it's more of a. You're not the trashiest person to have showed up tonight who definitely was supposed to be here, so screw it. It's not his job. You have an invitation. The Fentons don't pay him enough to deal with this. You do, however, having failed that etiquette check, can you give me a D4 charisma damage, or a reputation damage?
Oh yeah. This was my do I use her the family's
You would use the one you have in.
currency or credit?
So this is to basically decrease your reputation buff.
Okay.
So if it falls below 60, you lose that advantage, essentially.
I guess what I'm wondering about is whether or not so when I have the dress on, am I using that family's credit
Yes,
initially?
you are. Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know if I have the number correct for that.
I think we just made it up because it's not based on
Okay.
your things. It's based on their stats.
Okay. And what was I going to start with that number?
I think it said 67.
Okay. Cool. We're
Just
gonna
he
tank this
owns a
number
lot
by
of
hand.
Alright.
a lot of land.
-1.
-1. Yeah. Okay. So tank it by a point. And keep track of how many points you've lost. If you lose more than a fifth of your total in a single day, then you become censured. And that's not fun, as Anne can tell you. Yeah, so you've lost some reputation, but also you get the sense that, if this same footman sees you again, he's going to be suspicious if you're doing anything suspicious. Like, you kind of lost that buy. He's going to be paying a little bit of attention to you if he sees you again. So I'm going to put him on the board. This is Footman 1. He doesn't get a name because I've done enough names. Footman 1.
Also, Nigel Thornberry.
He's got
Nigel.
No, that's also Nigel.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nigel. They're all Nigels.
Everyone is Nigel.
No, everyone's a Jimmy.
But here they're Jameses.
Oh wait, I had a
Change.
costume change. Can
Yes.
I add it?
So I was gonna say,
Wow.
you walk in and let us flash forward back to that conversation
Okay.
with Frank Gilbert. Yeah. So you see, Frank's carriage is gone. He's telling the truth. Like, he's there. Some of his stuff is still there. Just sort of unpacked because they were staying in town because their actual house is
quite a bit far out.
I've just been plying him with drinks.
So he's just like, Sally, you're the best. You know, like, other people say,
They say,
but you're the best.
okay. Well,
That you're the best.
thank you very much, Mr. Gilbert. It's very kind to say. Are you sure you don't want another?
No, yes.
We have a few spare rooms, in fact, if you needed to stay.
Oh no, we are staying. We're upstairs
Oh, they are
in
staying,
the in the
okay.
large room.
Oh,
But I have to. Like, is this? Where's the sun? Cause I gotta get to the horse. Gotta get to the horse.
oh, why don't you? You still have plenty of time before the ball starts. Why don't you have a little nap? Maybe lie, rest your head for a moment.
Just a moment.
Yes.
Ooh. Yes. I think the horse. There might be 2 horses now.
There's 2 horses now. Well, you must sit down. You're not looking so well.
He goes and throws up.
Great, perfect.
Yeah, so he seems like he's gonna stagger off to his room. So he's throwing up, but it seems like he's gonna either get on his horse, but probably pass out somewhere for a bit.
Okay, so if he's throwing up, while he's throwing up, can I slip away to the
Yeah.
horse?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. So I've
Yeah,
gone...
you've got all the keys. You work there.
Yeah, so I'm slipping away over to the horse. It's already getting a
The
little
keys to
darker.
the horse.
The horse is like,
And I'm gonna start going through the side to see what's in there. It's just, an opportunity like this rarely arises, and I'm never gonna have another chance to go to the ball. Plus, he's already paid for the dress, so why wouldn't I just, have a little night on the town
this for you.
for myself? So I'm going to go in and grab it. Plus, the inn's gonna clear out shortly as everyone makes their way, so it'll be a light night anyhow. I'm gonna grab the first dress that I see. I don't know if she had multiple for the different days. And then I'm going to, I guess, I'll have found the letter, the
Yeah,
invitation.
yeah. So you find your invitation. Absolutely.
And I'm going to sneak around the back, go back up to my room, tuck things away, and go find my father.
Give me a stealth check real quick.
Great, love that. That should work. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you see a couple people around, but no one seems to have noticed you. And you're generally bustling around, so they think, it's just part of your duties.
Great. So I've gone and tucked my stuff away for a moment. I'm gonna find my father.
Awesome. You're Sally's father? Or...
Sally's father.
Yeah, Sally's father.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't own the inn, but he sort of does the brewing and the ale work, because it's quite a large inn. You see him, he's in the beer cellar. It's nice and cool. He's just like, Sally!
Oh, Father, I'm feeling quite unwell. I think it's all of the different people coming in and out of our town lately.
Oh, do you need to sit down? Do you need to take a... I don't want you catching any fever.
Oh, I feel like I might be. I'm going to go retire to my room for the rest of the evening. I think that everything's clearing out, as it were. People are heading to the ball.
Well, if you're sure you're all right. I mean, the last time people came into the town, a couple of us did get sick. I mean, there was that fever that went through the Willoughbys, and,
Oh,
rest.
you're,
Would they be Protestant? They would be Protestant at this point.
you're quite right. I'm going to lay down and
Yeah.
ensure that I don't get myself ill or anyone else. I'm sure I'll be fine by morning.
Are you sure? He just kind of rushes up and puts his, damp hand on your forehead. He's like, I mean, you feel like you're burning up? Yeah, of course.
Oh, I am. I'm burning up.
Give me a persuasion roll.
Did I do one of the other ones?
Yeah, any of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, alright. He's like, sort of who am I to say that this seems sus?
Great.
I'm just here in my cellar.
Up I go, and I get in my dress.
Give me a sleight of hand check.
Thank God for womanly constitutions and their and the overall perception of them at large.
Yup.
Oh, it did not work. My sleight of hand did not pass.
So we have a failed roll, so you can push rolls in Call of Cthulhu
Okay.
just as a primer, or just a reminder. So if you want to push it, you can re-roll it. It's just you have to tell me what you've done to re-roll it. And you can't use luck points to change the outcome of the roll. And if you fail, the outcome is worse.
Okay, so what was this for?
So it's a complicated ball gown.
Okay.
You've never put on one in your entire life.
Okay, so I'm putting.
Can you put it on correctly? So if you push it, you'll probably just like waste some time and show up kind of late.
Okay.
Potentially, if you really fail the roll, you'll damage the dress.
Okay, I'm gonna push again. This isn't right. I think I placed it in the wrong spot. Okay. Yes. It's not great, but it's enough.
All right. It'll take some time, but you've seen enough people come in. You know what it's supposed to look like. So it just took some trial and error to figure out how to get to that point.
And I walk in this dress to the manor.
Give me a stealth check with disadvantage.
Yeah, it would be.
You still have Sally's shoes on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, but you get a reputation buff so you just roll flat.
Okay. For stealth, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did it so well in this dress. I actually, it's under my half.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible. Somehow, defying all odds, you managed to make it. Yeah, so you make it through. So all three of you enter at roughly the same time. Can you give me a spot hidden as you walk in? And can you give me a stealth?
Oh, can I see if I recognize?
No.
Yeah, you can give me a spot hidden as well.
Okay.
I did not.
Oh, shit. Super, super successful.
Oh, cool.
Extreme success.
Yeah.
Extreme.
So you don't recognize Sally, in her dress, but you do recognize Bones, and seeing with Miss Jessica Willoughby, you now like remember a little bit more about like eccentric friend of Mr. Willoughby's longtime traveler. You remember like hearing good things, but you also know that he is like you, not supposed to be here. You clock his boots.
Yeah.
Second.
Weird shoes.
But I remember that he left me a very sweet note, and so I'm not saying shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, in that cutback of you poisoning / over serving Frank Gilbert, you just hear in the background like, now let me tell you about ostriches, Nigel.
Nigel's adventure with birds.
Nigel likes horses. Nigel's
to work for an exotic animal guy, but be one of his employees in England, like, you'd really rarely understand what was going on.
Yeah, he likes the horses. The birds, he can deal with them, but they're not his specialty. All right, so
Maybe not his journey.
not his journey. So you guys enter the house. So the way this is the wrong side. Guys, enter the house.
Yeah, there it is.
I can't label these because that kind of defeats the purpose. So we're gonna try a new thing, which is fog of war. If you're not in the room, the paper's on the board, so you're not gonna know who's moving in that room or what's going on. If I can keep track of this, it's gonna be great. And
Oh, this is good. This is good.
Oh, this is wow.
This is good.
There's a whole look happening here.
Yes.
But this is the only look she has.
Oh, we're gonna have to step it up.
I know. That's all look like chumps.
Oh god.
No.
You gotta go back to the carriage for night 2. Like Cinderella, sort of like rogue Cinderella.
Rogue Cinderella!
All right, let's go back to wherever we were. You three were entering.
Yes.
So if you want to put your tokens here, and your allies, feel free to mark up those tokens in any way would be, or stack them if you wish. Those are your peoples. The footmen sort of hold out and say, sir, if you wouldn't mind talking to Nigel, you're welcome to go around back. The servants' quarters entrances are around the lower stairs. You just follow the edge of the building.
Never mind that. Nigel, you're with me.
I'm sorry, it doesn't seem like he's on the
Give me a persuasion roll, but with disadvantage.
Sure.
Okay, that's
Ooh.
good, but yeah, that's great. 22, so that's half.
Oh, disadvantaged, right.
Yeah.
60, it's still a pass.
It's still a pass.
Yeah,
Nice.
60 something.
So I think the footman like looks from you and looks to Jessica, Miss Willoughby, and sort of just decides this family may have been through enough.
Mhm. Also, Nigel has like got a cage on his back of macaws covered in a tarp.
To find the gift table.
It's like, may I inquire as to the package?
No, you may not.
One of them says, "You're getting a raise."
Yeah,
You're getting raised?
same voice that's talking to them pops out. You're getting a raise.
Stay away from the tigers!
Mm.
Ah! And Jessica says, it's a ventriloquist act. He's here as entertainment.
Yes. Call me Mr. Bones.
Right this way. Right this
Wonderful.
way.
Nigel, come along.
The bemused. You see, so this is the footman that let footman number 1 is the one who let Sally in. This is the footman number 2 who stopped you.
Copy.
He just kind of wants to see the world burn a little bit.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, he's just like,
I'm gonna stand in the corner then. I like went this way.
yeah.
I think
Great.
Anne kind of watches that happen
Mm-hmm.
with this, the wonderment of seeing someone just so blatantly, with so little care, flaunt all social convention and being like, God, couldn't be me.
Great. So as you walk in, you can see into these parlors right here. You see some gentry walking around. You see, let's see, you see Hester Hillgrave and Patty Hillgrave. This is the mother of Rebecca Colt. So this is the mother of Bolton's niece, who remarried and left Rebecca to be raised by Bolton, and then her daughter. So this is Rebecca's half sister, Hester Hillgrave. In her corner. Let's see. Can I get a spot hidden or a psychology roll from Anne? And you guys haven't quite arrived yet.
Could I?
Yeah.
Is this something I could use listen for instead?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really good.
Other.
100.
Really, really good.
You hear the sounds of like hysterical laughter from that room. And as you kind of walk by, you can see them glance at you, and you realize they have like seen you, and they're laughing at the audacity of you showing up to this ball.
Can I try to notice that?
Yeah, go for it.
Can I do listen as well?
You can do listen. You can also sort of see them from here, so you can do
I'm
a
just
spot
not
hidden.
great at spotting.
Yeah.
Did we all opt for listen over spot?
I did.
Yeah.
That is just a
I got
failure
it.
out of 42.
Decent.
Yeah, you see a couple of, you see two women who you don't,
I know.
no, you recognize
I
the people.
know,
You-
Patty.
Yeah, you know Patty. You see the harlot Patty.
Oh, I know Patty.
Look, Bolter did not have great opinions of Patty.
Whoa.
Yeah, you see Patty, and this is the this is the third daughter, as of yet unmarried. She's 25 at this time, so definitely still of marriageable age, but kind of getting on in years. The bloom is beginning to wither. Yes.
The bloom is off the
God.
rose, I think is the
Oh,
original
boy.
phrase.
Wild.
Great.
Had nobody ever heard this?
I had
before?
never heard
I've
that.
heard something.
I've
similar,
only heard
heard
the
something
but it
similar.
hurts every time.
It does. It just feels a
Brutal.
little.
I've
I
only-
mean, like same, but God.
Swamp Witch era.
Yeah,
Swamp
absolutely.
hack, swamp
If I'm not
hack.
a little rat, what am I?
I at 60, I don't think I'm quite at Swamp Witch era. At 60 appearance, but like,
Yeah.
you know.
Can I so I don't like necessarily know these people and I haven't necessarily heard things, but can I like clock like the expressions, kind of like maybe try to get the vibe of what's going on.
Yeah, give me a etiquette. Because you've definitely clocked Bones and Jessica.
Ooh, I think that worked in this case.
But your etiquette is
It's
very
just
low.
etiquette, not the rep. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's a six. Oh, no. Yeah, no, six.
Not quite.
Yeah,
They would have passed a hard, but not a
Mm-hmm.
yeah. There's a lot of fancy folk going on. You do recognize Anne. You know Anne because her gossip was all over town. Yes, you actually know what happened to Anne. Wait a second. Do you want to tell her what happened to Anne?
Boy, wouldn't I like
Sure.
Likewise.
I don't know if she
sweet,
would
sweet
recognize
dirt.
anyone else,
Yeah,
but
sweet
she
dirt.
would know whatever details people around you would know, if that made sense.
To like.
These are so cool.
What's that about?
Mm.
This is meaningful eye contact for.
You're the looking at me.
Oh, am I?
Well, you were.
Oh.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So as you're walking in, you feel Jessica's hand tighten on your arm. As you spot Patty, you both spot Patty, and then you see Hubert Fenton and Isabel Fenton, the current mistress and master of Redworth Manor, standing here greeting guests.
Hello,
Oh, hello,
Mr. Fenton.
Miss
Mrs.
Willoughby.
Fenton.
Mr. I don't believe we've been acquainted. Mr. Hubert Fenton.
Mr. Bones will do.
Let's see him. He goes, "Oh, Mr. Bones, what a delightful name. I've not heard of you before."
Well, Mr. Horsefinder is another name you might know.
That
by.
definitely rings up. You see like a faint hint of fear enter into
That
Hubert's eye.
delights.
And just like a, what have we let into our house?
Well, Mr. Fenton, I have brought a gift for your new manor.
Oh,
Nigel?
you didn't have to. Nigel says, "All right, sir."
Puts the cage down, pulls the tarp off. I think like 7 macaws are in this.
Are they secured, or have you released the macaws?
I gotta if you ask me a question like that, I gotta release the macaws.
One of them says there's scat on the deck.
Birds flying around this whole night.
There's a the birds take flight.
Mm.
They,
Oh god.
Yes.
you just an explosion.
They're really
of-
quite tame once you've gotten used to their routines.
Oh, one of them is completely entangled in Isabel's hair. And she's batting at it. I'm gonna need you to roll reputation damage.
Sure.
Do we all need to make
Like,
dexterity checks?
Give me a D10.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
that sounds right. That's 6,
Six.
which is a quarter of my reputation.
Oh lord.
The only reason you are not being kicked out is because Jessica Willoughby is on your
Is
arm right
upping
now,
my reputation. a bit.
cackling.
Mm.
She's trying so hard to maintain an elegant facade, and
Yeah.
you can just feel every bone in her body vibrating.
Mhm. Bones has no care for the fact that people might. He's like coming up to the Fentons and being like, "Well, you see, if you call one, put your hand up like this. Mrs. Fenton, put your hand up. Yes, yes.
I demand you release these
Here,
beasts
I'll put a small
immediately!
seed on your hand."
Oh, you must unhand me, sir!
And here he comes, and a bird lands on.
She's got 2 birds, one in the hand, one in the hair. Give me a dexterity check
Two
from...
in the hair.
Yeah, exactly.
Give me a dexterity check from you two, having just entered. I'm gonna roll group for the family.
Oh, so fucking successful.
One delicately alights on your hand and just starts kind of like cooing at you in between. Grab the deck!
A little too.
Scat on the deck! Scat on the deck! Woo-doo-doo. Scat on the deck! Woo-doo-doo.
Scat on the deck.
What a delightful scheme.
The Potts family are terrified of birds, so they're all huddled in this corner, trying to fend off this bird.
I had a hard success.
Hard success. You're a champ. You're out there really trying to beat this bird off.
I am defending the Potts family.
You're like waving your fascinator in the opposite direction, trying to reflect some light off. Actually, give me like roll a d4 to improve your reputation. You guys enter.
Perfect. I think one just
One.
took it.
I'm taking it.
Take those. This is my bird now.
I think one, they're sort of, together, Lenora and Leighton, and one of the macaws just gently shits on Leighton's shoulder as it flies by.
As Leighton got dressed 6 different times.
See, Isabel Fenton say, "Oh, Leighton! My deepest apologies. Mr. Blackwell, so good to have you in our home. I assure you this is just a momentary inconvenience. We're delighted that you arrived safe and sound. Please come in. Please mind the birds. Yes, our Mr. Bones here will be taking care of this immediately."
Mr. Bones, these are your
Mr.
birds.
Bones, these are my birds. Well, they're now the Fentons birds. They're a housewarming
He
gift.
really shouldn't have.
Oh, it is first of all, very lovely to see you, Mrs. Fenton. Thank you so much for welcoming us into your home. And Mr. Bones, is
Mr.
it?
Bones.
Yes, my name is Lenora Blackwell.
Pleasure.
Pleasure. This is my brother Leighton Blackwell. Of course,
Lenora,
noted.
it shat on me. The bird shat on my coat.
Yes, Leighton, I'm aware, and it's
don't
quite
mind
funny.
that. And licks his thumb and just rubs it off his shoulder.
Mr. Bones, you're going to have to tell me all about these birds. These are just
yes.
fascinating.
Calls one down and is like,
Oh, you can call them.
"Oh, did I not mention they're well trained.
Would you?
This is all part of the show."
Wonderful. Did you train it to scat on my brother?
Yes, I did train that one to scat on the most well-dressed gentleman in any given room.
Look at that! You're the most well-dressed gentleman in the room.
Well, I mean, a bird knows what a bird knows.
Bird knows best. That's
I
what
do
I
hear
always
it.
say.
It's good luck.
Bird knows best.
Bird knows best. Anyway, and calls them back in with a sharp whistle.
Yeah, they all neatly land in the cage in a nice row. One kind of flaps its wings, but it goes back into the cage.
Okay, bye.
These are lovely.
Scat on the deck.
You're getting a raise.
So Isabel is in a complete disarray. Just her hair is, and the hairpieces of the time were wild, and hers is now wild, like wilderness. Full bee's nest of just locks and curls floating around. But she goes over to Lane. She says, "Please, I must take you around. Hubert, please attend to his sister. We must make sure they're perfectly welcome here." And sort of takes Leighton off on a tour.
Ooh, this is Leighton, I believe.
This is Leighton.
Yeah, if we have a Sharpie, we can add the T to him with that, if that helps.
Do you have a Sharpie?
Sorry, I give us little twinsies names.
I mean, I should have. They're color-coded, but it's only on the sides.
Yeah.
So Leighton and Isabel walk off. So as you guys take a moment to breathe in from that, there's feathers everywhere, but the whole entryway it's 2 stories. It's covered in shining silver cloth. Clearly the Fentons have spared no expense. And Hubert Fenton says, "Miss Blackwell."
Pleasure to meet you, to see you, Mr. Fenton.
Yes, of course. Can I escort you around? We're delighted you came.
Thank you so much. I would love that. I actually haven't had the pleasure of meeting many people here, so I would love some introductions if you're willing to make some.
No, absolutely. I mean, we have everyone, the finest sort here has come. Happy to take you around, and just walks off, ignoring Jessica and everyone, and walks off the same direction.
We'll talk about the birds later. Yeah, and I think as we go, I just immediately start well, congratulations on your very timely inheritance.
Oh, well, it was good timing for the family, but of course,
we were very sad to hear about the death of my cousin.
Yes, of course, it's devastating.
I was devastated.
Was he devastated?
But not in a bad way. He just, an old dude he didn't know died, and he gets a big fancy house and lots of money.
Okay, great. So he didn't really know.
No, you don't get the sense that there's a lot of
history.
Yeah, they're pretty, because there were Bolter, Willoughby, and Hubert Fenton are related by their great grandfather. That's how far back that family tie goes.
Wow. Okay.
The Willoughbys just had a lot of daughters and a lot of dead sons.
Right. Fair.
So
yeah. Well,
rough.
Certainly a tragic occurrence, but must be a bit of a stroke of luck for timing, surely.
Well,
if I can speak frankly.
I mean, the Lord wills as the Lord wills, I think is what my wife said.
And he certainly did. Will, quite a lovely estate to you.
God save the king.
God save the king.
So that's great. You have now successfully defended the pots, and you are in the corner. You see there's more gentry here. Bones and Jessica are there, and then the Hillgraves are here. Spots turns to you and says, well, that was
Racing?
quite so.
This...
Oh, here, you've got a feather, yes. I'm completely dashing. You defend us, all of us.
Oh, one does what she can.
You were magnificent. You're telling everyone in town.
This party has already been the exact kind of nightmare that she expected it to be. She walked in, was immediately laughed at, and then beset upon by birds. So Anna's going to kind of escort Mary into the ballroom, such that she might release her into the party and find the quietest room in this house.
Great. So you see...
This is me and Mary.
Yeah, you and Mary. So they kind of off and follow you. Going here to the ballroom. Let's see, so you can see into this room as well. So you wouldn't know any of these people. You just see two people kind of talking. And then, so here's revealed. And these are more Hillgrave relatives. So you're going toward the ballroom. What's Sally up to?
I think Sally was kind of surveying the room, and something her father taught her is when you don't know anybody, you find somebody who looks more uncomfortable than you. So she's most certainly clocked Anne at this point and is going to maybe follow along in that direction.
Great. Sally, so you're here. Say you're kind of like... You see some servants coming from the curio room into the dining room, carrying trays and plates of food. Just a little bit odd. And then, you see... I guess because as a servant you would notice, like someone who does food service, you would notice food movement and things. You're like, that seems a weird place to be carrying food from. There. Moving there. Jessica and Bones.
Yes. Bones tells Nigel, Nigel, please do go tell that nice footman outside that he needs to clean the foyer.
Scout on the deck, sir?
Scout on the deck, sir.
Scout on the deck.
And then I think Bones is going to accompany Jessica into the hallway and sort of lean in and say, now, Jessica, we do have to talk about that letter. I didn't want to speak in front of, the family.
Quite right.
But,
You think we probably should have done this on the carriage up, but here we are. The kangaroo was most diverting. I agree.
I did have to describe to you really the details of the flesh pouch that they contain.
It's just a marsupial.
A marsupial. Yes.
It carries its young within it, but not inside it.
And
It's
I've
marvelous.
taken a peek, and it is a horror beyond comprehension within there.
Truly, one gazes into the abyss and it gazes back.
Absolutely. Anyway, as I was saying.
There's the Cthulhu.
You right? We got there.
A bit of eldritch horrors inside of my
Let it out. You gotta let it out. What did you? You said you need my particular brand
Brand
of trouble.
of trouble.
And maybe the macaws is what you meant, but I have a feeling you meant something
They were
a little more
incredible distraction.
tricksy.
Here's the thing. Bolter could have died of natural causes. When it was, but do you know how paranoid he was?
Of course.
Because
Washed his hands more than any man in the 1800s should.
I mean, it was astounding. He would never explain it.
No.
He was always so worried something would happen to him, and the timing is simply, if he had died, but 6 months later,
Right.
Zachary would have inherited.
Of course.
Everything would have been preserved. The Willoughby family in fine standing, and after years of being in fine health, he catches a slight fever. There were others in the house that did also become slightly ill, and one did die. But we thought Bolter would be fine, so it could have been a fever. Just that the timing is suspicious, and what is more suspicious to me was how swiftly we were excommunicated from our homes. Now, there's a bit of a grace period. It was almost as if the Fentons knew something was to happen, and they swept in and swept us out. So, with how quickly we were kicked out and how closely Bolter kept his secrets, I don't know what's happened. This has been the first time I've been able to go inside the house, and I thought you would just have free reign, but now that I'm here, I think you were right. I should have come here myself much earlier, and done. I don't know how much they'll still be here in the house, but Bolter like to hide everything everywhere. If there's a stone left unturned, we should unturn it. And if not, everyone who possibly could have had motive is in this house tonight. And the preceding nights. And so if we can figure out, by talking to them, persuading them, threatening them, creatively, but not violently, you understand?
I love a creative threat.
No, you do. Then I think we may be able to uncover what has happened here. And the will was quite clear, the inheritance rules were quite clear, but if anything happens, at least we'll have justice for Bolter. And that will help me rest easy knowing he can rest easy.
Me too. Anyway, let's get a little dancing in before all the real work begins.
Says, well, we didn't roam. So you head off to the ballroom as well.
Yeah, this is us.
So these are the
Nigel's,
you
harassing
guys are
us.
doing.
So sweet.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. So Anne, as you are walking in, you hear a couple people talking, and you hear, oh yes, the Hillgraves are coming here, and you sort of that family's around, so they're a reasonable family, great place to drop off Mary. And as you walk over, you see a tall gentleman standing next to a woman, and something in you knows, but it is too late. And as you walk up, it is not the Hillgraves, it is the Hargroves, and Robert Hargrove and his new wife stand before you. Turns around and he says, Anne, Miss Waldron.
Mr. Hargrove, Mrs. Hargrove.
And we will hold it there and discover why this is perhaps the actual worst night of Anne's life. Next time on Rogues and Romances.